Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grow With Us. My name is Evan Barton, and I'm your host who helps create conversations with the innovators and leaders of a growing tech center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The Grow With Us podcast highlights the work of community leaders, tech entrepreneurs, nonprofit professionals, and talent development advocates in Tulsa. Grow With Us is a podcast of inTulsa. inTulsa's mission is to connect talented individuals and companies to stimulate economic growth in Tulsa and to create more prosperous communities across the region. Each episode, Grow With Us discusses the growth of opportunities, the growth of communities striving for change, or the tech and innovation that is changing the landscape of Tulsa.
On this episode of Grow With Us, I speak with Stan Khrapak, the Visa Program Lead at inTulsa. Stan and I discuss the mission of the inTulsa Visa Program, Stan's experience opening and launching the Under the Canopy School, and Tulsa's growing Bike Polo scene.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Grow With Us. I'm so excited to welcome back to the podcast, but in a new format, Stan Khrapak. Stan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be back.
You're back. We've had you on Grow With Us before when we were back in just the audio days. And so now people get to see what Stan the man looks like.
Thank you. It's exciting.
I'm very excited to have you back on. Since you've been on Grow With Us, honestly, like our relationship has changed in a lot of ways. We feel like we've become deeper friends. Honestly, like a highlight, I feel like of the past 2 years in our relationship, I got to see you speak on your program at South by Southwest at the Tulsa House this past March, which was amazing.
That's right. That was an unforgettable moment. We had a lot of fun in Austin as well. So yes, I feel like we've become closer, and I'm glad that we get to have another chance to really talk on this podcast.
Absolutely. And if I remember correctly, we were like in the car from the airport to our hotel or whatever the first day. And you were telling us about something that you were going to be doing down in Austin with some friends that you had. I literally can't even remember what it was called again.
Oh, I actually played some bike polo.
Bike polo. That's what
yes. Yeah, Austin has a great club. We have a nice club here in Tulsa. So whenever I travel and if there's a bike polo club, I'll sit in and play some pickup if I can. And I did that Sunday. It was really fun.
Yeah. After you just got done speaking at like the biggest conference in America, you're like, let me go do some bike polo in Austin.
Yeah, why not?
I love it. We love having hobbies and pastimes. And I love that one specifically because it sounds like you can do it wherever you are, even if you're traveling. So really silly thing I remember, but I remember being a little gagged that you were doing something I'd literally never heard of.
It was really fun. And glad to be back here in Tulsa.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about Tulsa. I mean, that's been something that stayed constant since the last time you were on. But, 2 years have passed. Lots of life has happened between now and then. Do you mind sharing with our audience a little bit about like your Tulsa experience, maybe with the direct comparison between last time you were on and this time and where you're at now?
Absolutely. Well, the last time we spoke, I believe was over 2 years ago. And at that time, I was just starting to formulate the inTulsa Visa Network. So since then, the program has really grown, become established, and I've been able to grow with it. And my career has really flourished since that time with respect to this program. A lot of my volunteering has also really changed and expanded over that time as well. First of all, I've been able to start a school since that time, which we'll get into here, I'm sure, in a little while. But lots and lots has changed. So I'm happy to kind of explore that with you and share with the audience how my relationship has evolved with Tulsa just in these last 2 short years.
Yeah, go ahead. The floor is yours. I mean, we can dive into anything related to Tulsa that you want to. What's been exciting you about Tulsa recently?
Well, I'd like to focus first on the career element of it.
Yeah.
So the inTulsa Visa Network, when we first spoke, really was in its nascency. We were just planning to relocate our very first person from Ukraine. Mm-hmm. We were looking at what visa types could we operate with and how we could actually pull this off. Since then, we have relocated over 120 people to Tulsa through the program from many different countries. In fact, right now, we have 18 different countries represented in the program, which is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it's amazing.
From 5 different continents. And so when I look back, then we were so excited about what the program could bring. Now we're at a point to where we have so many amazing tangible outcomes and results impacting Tulsa in a very direct way.
Yeah.
So, when we first spoke, it was shortly after Russia invaded Ukraine, and we were primarily going to be working with Ukrainian humanitarian parolees, of which still comprise about 60% of our program members. But since then, we have brought people here from many different countries from all over the world, and not just in the humanitarian parole visa, but an array of different visa types. We've been really successful in helping those people not only come here, but help them get amazing jobs and help them pursue their immigration pathways through their work. So I'm really proud of that. And
you should be. That's amazing. I'll just interrupt you there really quickly just to say, like, it's kind of unfathomable in some ways, because not only is it not happening in other cities, but it's happening in Tulsa, and in the way that it's happening, it's connecting people to a community in the same way like Tulsa Remote has connected people to communities. It's just, you're doing the work that is required to help people get on their feet in a new country, which is like, a little bit different than a new state. I could move to Texas. I wouldn't, and be okay. But, if I were to really pick up everything and go somewhere else, that would be a huge culture change for me. And that's something that I think it's really cool to see that the Tulsa community like welcome those folks, hopefully with open arms, as well as your program being, really the first smile and handshake that they get to see when they step off that plane to get to Tulsa.
Absolutely. And really what we've learned is that this program is wholly unique, really, in the country. There's really nobody else doing this work in such a way as we are.
Yeah.
For example, we help people to formulate their legal strategy with our partner law firm. Then we act on that legal strategy and help the family or individual come to Tulsa. Once they get here, we have a partnership with a social work organization called American Dream Center. And they help them with their on-the-ground needs, helping them get their driver's license, their bank account open, helping their kids get enrolled in school. Then we also help our primary program member get connected to companies in the Tulsa area and help them with their job search and actually placing them in their job. And then starts the work of helping them pursue their immigration pathways through employment. And so it's tremendously challenging, lots and lots of layers for each individual, because everyone has a unique legal situation. Everyone has a unique background. Everyone has unique skills that they're bringing to the table and to the Tulsa economy. So every single person is their unique jigsaw puzzle. And so it's a matter of providing high quality personalized care from a holistic perspective. And we've been very successful in doing that thus far. And I'm pretty amazed just how far we've come in about 2 years.
That's awesome. I mean, there's probably many people to thank along the way that have had the opportunity to support families, welcome families. I know we obviously have a couple of colleagues that have come and gone in this work in some ways, but the impact that I think they've had, it will be like carried on through that family and how they were welcomed into Tulsa. So I just want to acknowledge some of those folks that have helped you and on your team and everything.
Oh, absolutely. And it's definitely not a one-man band. There's lots of people who coordinate with me, who assist me, and I wouldn't be able to do the work without them. So I'm really grateful. And it's not just people who directly work for in Tulsa. It's also these businesses who we're partnering with who are open to hiring and sponsoring foreign nationals. The idea is that we've really identified critical skills gaps here because, Tulsa recently was designated as a tech hub by the federal government.
Yes, woo, woo. We celebrate that every time.
Huge accomplishment. And what that means is there's so many companies opening their doors, startups, also have businesses expanding their footprints here. But there's not quite enough mid to senior level talent in specific industries like software engineering to fill those positions. So what our program is doing is we're selecting folks who we know are going to have a high likelihood of securing work here in Tulsa, and then introducing companies to a pipeline of talent who they would otherwise never have access to here in Tulsa.
Yeah.
So we're filling this need, and we're serving both an economic mission and in some ways a humanitarian mission, helping people get out of a bad situation and restart their lives here. And for a lot of these people, this is a great way for them to get that support to meet their both professional, family, and immigration goals. So we're able to hit that sweet spot and bring people here who really would benefit most from the program.
How do you think Tulsa specifically as a city is poised to welcome folks from the Tulsa Visa Network?
Well, I think it's a kind of a top-down approach, because we're really fortunate to have the city of Tulsa as our partners. And even from the top of the municipal level, the Mayor G.T. Bynum, all the way to all the wonderful organizations that are affiliated with the city of Tulsa, there are already existing infrastructure to help immigrants. And in fact, we have a long history of welcoming immigrants here in Tulsa. Yeah. So it's not like we're starting from scratch. We're just adding an additional layer of support there. Secondly, I think that from a geographic perspective, Tulsa is a mid-sized city in the middle of the country, and it's very affordable. You pair that affordability with this tech explosion, creates a very attractive environment for newcomers, because a lot of people, they don't want to live in New York City. They don't want to live in LA, because those are hard places for immigrants to kind of start up their lives, particularly if they have a family with them. So they're looking for that sweet spot of a middle-sized city that is affordable and that's going to grant them opportunities to secure a great job and be able to pursue their immigration goals. I also think there's a tapestry of amazing organizations here that some of them we're partnered with, some of them we collaborate with. And so, for instance, our program requires our program members to have proficiency in English, but sometimes maybe the spouse or the children don't have those as sharp of English skills. Well, we don't have English language learning, but we can refer them to YWCA Tulsa. We can refer them to Community College of Tulsa. And we could pull on our partners to help us where we aren't proficient. We can actually leverage our partners to help provide these additional resources for our program members. So the rich history of supporting legal immigration in Tulsa, with the top-down support from the municipal level to all our community partners, I think there's an array of help and support that can help these folks start off on the right foot.
That's amazing. And I love that you outlined it like that. And in a lot of ways, this is kind of reminding me of your talk at South by Southwest, when you had the opportunity to be on a panel talking specifically about the work that the Visa Network is doing. And what a cool stage. Like, I know you said that was like a life accomplishment in so many ways, but what do you think the strategy behind speaking about the inTulsa Visa Network in a place like South by Southwest was?
I think it created a lot of impact, because a lot of communities in the United States are wondering, how do we attract highly skilled immigrants to our location? And this gives a unique model to potentially replicate for these cities, to say, wow, through an initiative like the inTulsa Visa Network, we can actually create a structure that allows us to be highly selective about the types of immigrants that our community would like to see here and how to best support them. So it really gave us an international stage to both show our amazing results, but also to encourage other cities to create these environments that foster a welcoming community, to foster comprehensive support, and frankly, to empower businesses to meet their goals by bringing this highly skilled talent, which I should mention for us is going to be largely in the STEM sector, science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. We primarily focus on highly skilled software engineers, 5, 10, 15 plus years of experience. And so when we're focusing on that, companies are really receptive, because they may say, gosh, we've been looking for someone with this skill set, but we can't find them locally. So for mid-size markets who might lose out on that talent to larger cities, now they have a way to look at our program and come to us and say, how did you accomplish this?
Yeah.
And we've gotten a lot of interest after South by Southwest from that presentation. And I look forward to other opportunities to share what we've done, because it's not like a secret that we want to keep. We want to be able to share this with other cities, with other law firms, with other communities, just to say, you can do this too. And our results have been overwhelmingly positive.
That's amazing. And I like that reflection, specifically kind of on, this isn't a trade secret. We're not the only community that's wanting to share the information that like might be necessary to help welcome immigrants into their community. And so that's amazing. I think you're right in the sense that like there's many people to thank in this partnership with the network, because it's obviously the businesses are taking on some risk at some level with this type of engagement. But I think your results have proved that it's well worth the risk when it comes to the type of talent that is being met. And that's actually something that I wanted to kind of touch on specifically. I think in a conversation maybe you and I have had, or maybe other conversations I've had, the like interest in international talent like comes up a lot. Like, do you outsource your tech talent to a team in X country or whatever? And in a lot of ways that I think prior to the invasion of Ukraine, there was like a large tech talent pool in the Ukraine where people would say, yeah, I have a team of developers in the Ukraine. And then in order to meet that need, the Visa network kind of popped up as a way of like being a hub for those people that have been displaced by situations and circumstances that are beyond their control, but still have those highly technical skills that could really be additive to a job market or a community in Tulsa, Oklahoma, of all places.
Yeah, that's right. And one thing I'd like to emphasize is a lot of the work that we're doing not only involves bringing people from abroad or perhaps out of state to Tulsa, it also involves empowering businesses who are already hiring their talent here in Tulsa, but they might not know how to retain that talent.
Yeah.
So we can actually partner with that company who already has an employee who has an international background and empower them to hold on and retain their employee through our legal and financial support that we're able to offer. Yeah. So it's a way to fight the brain drain in so many ways, because if these folks don't have an opportunity to be sponsored for their green cards here through employment, maybe they'll go to a different market, right? Or maybe they'll run out of time on their visa. Maybe they don't have a way to bridge their ability to stay longer. And so maybe a conception of this program is we're inviting talent to come to Tulsa, but we're also, so much of the work is partnering with local businesses who already have that international talent in the workforce. That way we can ensure that longevity of that person being able to stay at the company so that business can achieve their long-term goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a great kind of like segue into the ways that like our current work overlaps specifically. So in my role at Campus Tulsa, we have lots of conversations with students at universities, and universities are often huge hubs for international students. In fact, this past summer, we welcomed like 5 or 6 folks into our Impact Academy that have an international background. And the process in which it took to onboard those folks can become pretty complicated. And, in some ways, the student had to acknowledge or really learn a very complicated process about immigration into the United States just by being here and just by being a student. And so one thing that we had to learn as a part of onboarding international students was like, they essentially have, and you're probably going to do a lot better explaining this than myself, but I'll allow you to correct me or fill in some of the blanks here. But, when we are onboarding international talent, we have to think about these terms that are like CPT and OPT, which I'll let you explain those. But my understanding of them is that a college student has to essentially choose when to allow employment to be, I guess, a part of their CPT or OPT. And so when we're seeking to onboard some of those folks, these are freshmen in college, and they are seeking degrees in those highly technical fields in STEM. So engineering specifically is a big one. And so they're receiving an engineering education in the United States, but they're they have a background elsewhere, international background. And we have to, as a program, be cognizant of offering them a opportunity in their first year that could potentially hinder them from seeking an opportunity in their third or fourth year that might be more relevant to how their education has transgressed since then. So I don't know, maybe this is a great part for you to jump in and maybe correct some things.
That's really interesting. And, since we last spoke, STEM OPT, which I'll describe here in a moment, has become our second most used visa in our program. And so effectively what we've done is we've created a kind of a model where if you are an international student, you're attending a U.S. university, after you graduate, you can actually work for a year. And if you are graduating with a degree that's categorized as science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, you can actually stay and work for up to 3 years. And so during those 3 years, we can actually help identify some middle term or potentially even long-term immigration pathways. Yeah. But a lot of students, they might not know how to navigate all of these different requirements. U.S. immigration system is very complex.
Yes.
So we help, we can speak with students even while they're in school. And then that way, when they're getting close to graduation or when they've recently graduated, we can actually step in and support them so long as they can land a job in the market, which we can help them with that process as well. So, for a lot of these students who I'm speaking with, for instance, let's say they earn their bachelor's and or master's degree here in Tulsa. Mm-hmm. They may have lived here for 6, 7 years or 8 years.
Yeah.
They feel like this is home, because they've been students for so long here. They've grown attached to Tulsa. They've established roots here, and they want to work from Tulsa. And going back to their country would limit their professional goals. Yeah. So what we can do is we can actually intervene, help them land a great job, and help protect their ability to stay in the United States. And oftentimes, as you mentioned, these are going to be highly technical people. And so we know that in the next few decades, software engineers and other technical fields are just that gap is going to continue to increase.
Yeah.
So it's within our national interest, and it's within the interest of the Tulsa economic landscape to retain this talent. Mm-hmm. And so to the extent possible, we're here to speak with these students, even when they're in college, to help them understand what are their options after they graduate. And a part of this mission too is forging great relationships with universities and their international student offices to make sure that they're aware that this program exists and it can help them after graduation. But you're absolutely right. It's can be very challenging. It can be a hard process to navigate for folks who don't have exposure to that knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, my little colloquial thing that I say about it is they're studying to be engineers, not to become U.S. immigration officials, of which you kind of have to assume that skill set as you navigate the visa process. It's something that I think I was, quite frankly, first exposed to when I was in college myself, and had many students that had international backgrounds, and just genuinely couldn't wrap my brain around all of the hoops that had to be jumped through in order to do X, Y, and Z and stay in school. And, these students sometimes weren't going home during the summer because of extenuating circumstances, or just the circumstance of being international and not even being able to return. So my sympathies lie specifically in that, because that's really tough. I mean, I can't imagine that experience as a student, but knowing that there's people like you and people like their DSOs, the designated school officials, that can really help them navigate that process is what hopefully makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'll also mention is not only can we support students who are graduating from Tulsa area programs, mm-hmm. but also let's say a student graduates from a small university in Nebraska, they land a remote job. We can actually help them relocate here to Tulsa, because, there are a lot of small college towns and people are ready to kind of move on to a bigger market, to a more exciting place to live, which Tulsa definitely is. Mm-hmm. So we've also been successful in bringing recent graduates in the STEM field with jobs to Tulsa, and then we help them pursue their immigration pathways in coordination with their employers. So it's not only a way to retain local students, but also to invite those who are interested in living and just getting the benefits of life in this exciting city of Tulsa.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a great overview, and I want to zoom in specifically on one last part of it that's really encompasses a lot of the program. But I'd love for you to kind of highlight, the specific visa types that you service, and kind of any additional details that might help someone who's listening, learn more about it and decide if this is a fit for them.
Absolutely. Since we last met, we have also expanded to support what's known as the O1 Extraordinary Ability Visa. This is typically reserved for people in the top of their field. They may have international acclaim. They may be so highly skilled that very few other people in the world have that level of skill. And so we've actually accepted 4 people in this O1 category, and we have many more in the pipeline, which is quite exciting. And so these are the exact type of folks that we hope would take advantage of the program, because while the O1 visa is a temporary visa option, we can help them pursue their long-term options through employment from there. We also support what's known as the H-1B Specialty Occupation Visa. These are going to be reserved for people with at least a bachelor's degree who are doing the work that is similar to their field of expertise and academic background. We hear from people at the top levels of government. For instance, Governor Stitt recently said that he wanted more H-1B workers in the state of Oklahoma, and we have quite a few H-1B workers in our program. Most employers, this is going to be what they're familiar with.
Yeah.
So if you are a business or you have an H-1B and you're looking to solidify a long-term life in Tulsa, we can support the H-1B. And then we have, as we alluded to previously, STEM OPT for F1 international students. And then, of course, we have the TN visa, which is applicable to Canadian and Mexican nationals. And we both have a Canadian and a Mexican national in our program.
That's awesome.
And finally, the humanitarian parole visa. This is reserved for people from countries such as Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Ukraine. So we can leverage this visa. And I'm actually the sponsor for all of our humanitarian parolees. I'm their personal sponsor. That allows them to come to the United States for 2 years. And from there, we can use that as a stepping stone to pursue long-term immigration pathways and support through their employer for pursuing a green card. So I'm happy to say that we have Ukrainians in our program. We have a young woman from Cuba, software engineer, coming soon. We have a gentleman from Nicaragua coming as well. And we this year brought our first person from Haiti, a software engineer from Haiti. And frankly, the Haitian gentleman, after he arrived at Tulsa, the airport shut down not long after. So we're really helping people to get out of a kind of a bad situation, come here, and companies are eager to hire these folks just because they're so highly skilled. And we're very proud of the work that we've done with the humanitarian parole category. So those are the 5. There may be some other exceptions that we're working on. However, those are the kind of the primary visa types that we're working with now.
That's amazing. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and you literally went in the same order, which is amazing. I'm like, I would be. You're very well versed on this, obviously, which is awesome. I love hearing, just like the impact. I mean, when you're talking about countries, you're talking about like just this global impact of this program. There's people in Nicaragua that are like Tulsa, Oklahoma, like people in Haiti that are like, I could go live in Tulsa. Like that. I mean, that becoming a reality for more and more people is something that frankly, every Tulsan should be excited about, because that's adding to the tapestry of cultures that we have here, the diversity of this city, and really what I think makes it a great place to live. So I'm super, super excited about the continuation of this program. I want to just plug real quick. If you're looking for a specific landing page on a website, you can find it at talent.intulsa.com. If you're looking across the header in services and offerings, there's a page specifically for the inTulsa Visa Network where you can find more information about the program that Stan's running and kind of what the service offerings are there. So thank you so much for talking about the Visa Network. We're going to talk about some of your other stuff because you have many other things going on in your life, and I want to make sure we give those the airtime as well. What's going on in your world community-wise? You've got volunteer efforts that you're juggling. I'd love for you to share with our audience some of the things you're working on.
Of course. So since we last spoke, when we connected previously, I was volunteering with a nonprofit after-school program called Under the Canopy. This after-school program brings outdoor education, nature learning, environmentalism to kids from, kind of the pre-K to fifth grade level. And I was volunteering there. I was actually on the board for several years. And a little while ago, I was invited to become the president of the board of directors of this after-school program. And the executive director of that program, she had always had a vision of creating a public school that was based on kind of the philosophy of the after-school program. So we actually wrote a 300-plus page application and submitted it to Tulsa Public School to become our authorizer. The Tulsa Public School Board unanimously voted to approve our public charter school application.
Wow, you got them to unanimously vote on something? That's crazy.
It's funny. The board was throughout the night, and ours was the last agenda item. And throughout the night, they didn't agree on everything. But that was the only proposal that was unanimously voted on.
There we go. That's good.
It was amazing. And so we're actually planning on opening our doors in fall of 2025.
It's amazing.
It's going to be a public charter school, pre-K through 3 we'll start, and then we'll add a 4th grade the next year and a 5th grade the next year. It's a Waldorf-inspired education, and that means it's going to be art, music, and nature is going to be imbued into the curriculum. Now, of course, we are still a public school, so we'll have to meet all the state standards.
Yeah.
This is amazing. We recently secured $2.25 million to fund the school for the first few years. And we're looking at other interesting grants and things like that. We'll receive state funding, of course. But I'm really excited. My background before the Visa Network for over a decade was in the education space.
Yeah.
So this is a goal that I've actually had for many years, and it's actually happening. And so now I'm going to be the chair of the school board. And so it's a huge learning experience. It's not only starting a school, but it's sort of like starting a business as well.
Absolutely.
Because you have to learn about how to finance your school, how to operate it,
how to staff it,
how to be compliant with state standards. And so it's really, really exciting, extremely challenging. It's taking up a lot of my focus and energy outside of work, but I couldn't be more proud of the opportunity to do this. We're actually, if everything works out, going to be opening our doors in West Tulsa near the Red Fork district in a typically underserved part of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to bring a lot of great learning opportunities. And because it's a public school, any student can attend. We'll have a lottery that will run to gain enrollment. So I just can't wait for this to happen. And I want to thank the Under the Canopy leadership for making this a possibility. So that is one of the major things that I've got going on.
That's amazing. I'm gonna interrupt you a little bit just to add some of my thoughts. And obviously, congratulations to this is such a huge accomplishment. Especially I didn't know. I mean, I knew your background was in education, but for you to say this has been a goal of mine for a really long time, that makes it even more meaningful. So I hope you take the time to celebrate that every time there's an opportunity to, because it is absolutely worth it, and you're doing it for this community, which is awesome. So continue on. I love that.
Thank you so much. And
yeah,
the last time we spoke, we also talked about my background coming from the Jewish community as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on the board of directors at the Jewish Federation of Tulsa. One of the major accomplishments I've had with the Jewish community since we last spoke was to help launch a program here in Tulsa called student-to-student program, Be the Narrative.
Yeah.
And this basically is a program that brings high school Jewish teenagers into classrooms in other high schools. And these students are able to kind of share what is their experience of being a Jewish teenager. And it helps expose their life and their culture to non-Jewish students and helps bridge understanding between Jewish and non-Jewish students across Tulsa. So this program's been running for about 6 months as of now. And I think it's a nice way to have interfaith relations and to create peaceful interactions between Jewish and non-Jewish students in the city. So lots going on with that as well. You know, between that and of course, like spending time with my wife and playing bike polo.
I know, it's like you only have a little bit of time to play bike polo.
I know that's, but I'm really, really happy with the way that life is going because I feel like I'm making significant impacts both through my career, through my volunteer work, and I get to enjoy life in the city. So, you know, I couldn't be happier, and I'm just really glad to have this opportunity. And I want to thank, you know, the George Kaiser Family Foundation and in Tulsa for supporting these initiatives because they truly are making a big, you know, cultural and economic impact in the city. And I hope that we can continue for many years to come, regardless of what type of political situation is facing us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, I'll timestamp this video. I know we talked about this yesterday, but like this video will probably come out after the election. I mean, we're 35, I think they said last night on the debate there, we're 34 days away from an administration change. But, you know, as you mentioned about the program, to me, everything is standing to be maintained regardless of administration. So
that's right. This program is designed to withstand and
withstand,
no matter what the kind of the political climate is. Legal immigration will continue to be a central facet of American society, and we will be adaptive and responsive to whatever political winds may come. And I'm very confident that with our partners at the Classico Law Firm, we'll be able to overcome whatever challenges come our way. So I'm very confident in this program's longevity. And, you know, if you are a Tulsan and you run across somebody from another country, there's a good chance they might be from the program. So I hope that listeners will continue to create a welcoming environment for international folks. And I'm excited to be a part of a small part of the bigger picture here in Tulsa.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Stan, for sharing all of the things that you're working on. I mean, I have particular connection to just like maybe a little bit of all of them in some ways, whether it's my friend circle, having a strong connection to the Jewish community through many connections that I've made here in Tulsa. Education is absolutely something that I'm a huge contributor to in some ways. I'm a proud TPS grad in some ways. So you being able to contribute to the Tulsa community in that way. The Canopy School, I think this is right, but the Canopy School is also at the old Reservation Dogs production office, right?
That's right.
Which is so cool.
You know, shout out to Rocky and Sterling. When I was touring the facility, the whiteboards were covered with like graffiti and tags that the Res Dogs staff left when they were filming there.
Yeah.
So it was fun finding all those little Easter eggs.
Exactly.
In the Park Elementary building, which is soon hopefully going to be the Under the Canopy School building.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
super cool. And just so cool. Some Tulsa history lore in some ways. I mean, it's new lore, but I love that, of course. And then obviously you and I have been colleagues for over 2 years now at this point. And so to have seen your growth in this role, the growth of the program, and to now be in a role where like, hopefully I can support and funnel potential visa candidates into your network. And so it's really cool kind of the ways in which our lives have intersected and have complemented each other. And I'm happy to know you and to see the work that you do in Tulsa. So thank you for all the gifts that you give the city.
Thank you, Evan. It's a pleasure. I'm so glad we're friends and we can continue to see each other grow. And who knows, maybe we'll have another session in a few years to see what we can both accomplish. And I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this Grow With Us podcast. And we'll see what happens from here.
Absolutely. I'll see you on the bike polo course.
Okay.
I think you could definitely bring me out.
I will.
I'm good on the bike.
Okay. Well, keep that in mind.
Wait, do you have to, sorry, this is a slight bike polo diversion, but do you have to ride without hands?
Well, you actually have one hand on the steering, and then you have a mallet in your right hand. So you brake with your non-dominant hand, and you have your mallet in your right.
Okay.
But your feet can't touch the ground. That's the thing.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
I just can't do no hands. That I don't know what it is about. Like, I don't think that's a balance skill, but it's just never something that's ever like worked for me when it comes to biking.
Yeah, you'll definitely want to hang on because otherwise you might crash. One interesting thing about that is we've petitioned the city of Tulsa to build some brand new bike polo courts,
yes,
which is under construction. And I hope by the time that this video comes out, we'll have the best court in the region. So we'll be able to host regional tournaments. So if you see something about bike polo, you could check us out, Tulsa Bike Polo on Instagram.
Oh, yes. Do the plug.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's super fun. And if you're interested, hit us up.
Yes, absolutely. Stan, thank you so much for being on this episode of Grow With Us. I think we really talked about many, many exciting topics that I hope the listeners find interesting and also informative. And if there's ways that people can stay connected with you, I mentioned how to find out more about the Tulsa Visa Network and everything, but feel free to, I'm not going to offer your LinkedIn, but feel free to connect with you.
Yeah. If you have questions about the program, you could definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn. I field a lot of inquiries there. If you're an international person and you're having trouble with LinkedIn, you could also find me on Facebook if you so wish. And then the best way to get in touch with us, as you mentioned, is to get on our website and fill out an inquiry form or an application, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. And we're excited to welcome new Tulsans.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stan. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of Grow With Us. Thank you for listening to this episode of Grow With Us. Grow With Us is supported by inTulsa Initiatives. If you're interested in learning more about inTulsa services for job placement and workforce development, please visit talent.intulsa.com. From there, you can join our talent network where you'll get access to our newsletter, and our talent team will make sure we put the right opportunities on your radar. We put the choice to pursue a new career and opportunities in your hands. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to be notified when more episodes of Grow With Us are released. Let us know what you think about how we're doing by rating and reviewing. It really helps. Grow With Us is edited and engineered by Rant9 Productions and Jesse Ulrich. This has been Grow With Us.